All right, so for number 1, we're still solving, so we're going to draw our line where the equal sign is. All right, to solve number 1, we're going to look at where the letter is. So on the side where it says 12F, what operation is happening when it says 12F? Tristan?
Multiplication.
Okay, so this is multiplication since they're right next to each other. What's the opposite of multiplying?
Division.
Division. So I'm going to draw that fraction bar for my division symbol. What number am I using when I do the division? Hannah? 12, because that's what is next to the letter. All right. Are there any questions so far? Okay. So now we need to do 96 divided by 12. This should be a multiplication fact that we know. What would I multiply times 12 that would give me 96? Michael?
18.
8. So 96 divided by 12 is going to give me 8. One of the questions that was asked in 3rd period was, how do you know when this is a fraction and how do you know when this is division? Does anyone think they have a good answer for that? When would I treat this like a fraction and when would I treat it like division? Tristan?
When it's M5.
Yeah, if it's got a big number on top, we probably want to try to do division. Since that had a big number on top, will 12 go into that perfectly? Yes, we got 8, so we're going to do division there. Okay. What happens to my 12 on top and 12 on bottom? They go away. And we're left with F. All right, we do need to check that. Remember, my original problem said 12 times F. So I'm going to do 12 times what number? 8. So we're going to do 12 times 8. And this will just help me to check and make sure we pick the right thing. 8 times 2 is? 16. Carry the 1. 8 times 1 is? 8 plus the 1. So I get 96. Is that the number we were looking for? Yes. Okay. All right, number 2, let's draw our line. All right, where R is, what operation is happening with R? What operation is that going to be? Looking for a new hand. What operation is that, Janeth?
Division.
That's going to be division because it has this division line. What's the opposite of dividing? Multiplication. And remember, if dividing goes on the bottom, where do you have to write your multiplication? On the top. So that 13 should be beside it on top. And then I'm also going to put it on the other side. Okay? 11 times 13. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. So what should I do? Yeah, work it out. So I'm going to go up here to the top of my paper somewhere. I'm going to do 11 times 13. I'm going to put 11 on the bottom, make it easier. 11 times 3 is 3. 1 times 1 is 1. Put your 0. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 1 is 1. When I add that up, I get 143. So 13 times 11 gives me 143 equals, what happens to my 13s? They go away and I'm left with R. Okay? We need to check that. Remember, what number goes at the door? What's going to be at the door? So remember, my original problem was R divided by 13. R divided by 13. What's going to be at the door?
13.
The 13, because it's the denominator goes at the door, which means R goes in the house. What did we find out R was? 143. Okay. Can 13 go into 1? Can 13 go into 14? Yes, 1 time. 1 times 13 is 13. When I subtract, I get 1. Bring down the 3. How many times will 13 go into 13? 1 time. 1 times 13 is 13. So I got 11. Is that what we were looking for? Yes. Okay. Number 3. Let's draw our line. What operation is happening on number 3, Jake? Multiplication. They're right next to each other. Opposite of multiplying, Jake? Division. So we're going to put our division bar. What am I going to be dividing by, Jake?
The 5.
The 5, because that's what's next to my letter. Okay, what happens to 5 and 5? They cross out. So we have x equals 20 divided by 5 is 4. Okay. Checking that one. It says 5 times x. Instead of writing 5 times x, we're going to write 5 times 4. So 5 times 4, and 5 times 4 gives me 20. Is that what we were wanting?
Yes.
Yep, so we got the right answer. All right, number 4 is a fraction. What's the opposite of multiplying by a fraction? You might want to look at your notes. What's the opposite of multiplying by a fraction, Joel? Using the reciprocal. Joel, what is the reciprocal of 5 over 6? 6 over 5. And if I use 6 over 5 on one side, I'm going to use 6 over 5 on the other side. Okay, so let's just start. Oh, I forgot to draw my line. Sorry, guys. I skipped a step. There we go. Okay, what's going to happen to my 6s?
They're going to be crossed out.
They're going to disappear. What happens to my 5s?
Disappear.
So I'm left with K equals. What's going to happen to 10? What do I need to do?
Put 1 under it.
Put a 1 under it. Okay, so you have a couple of options here. What would you like to do now? Tristan, question?
You have to divide it by 5.
Okay, so I have a 5 on the bottom and a 10 on top. Those can both be divided by 5, so I can make them smaller. So 10 divided by 5 is 2, and 5 divided by 5 is 1. Okay, so now on the top it says 2 times 6, which is 12. On the bottom, what do I get? 1. Do I need that? No. If you put that, that's not a big deal, but make sure in our answer we just want K equals 12. Okay. So let's check it. My original problem said 5 over 6 times K, which in this case we got K is 12. So I went ahead and put it over 1 so I can multiply it times a fraction. Okay. What should I do to multiply that? Jake?
Simplify 6 and 12.
Simplify 6 and 12. 6 will go into 6. 6 will go into 12. 5 times 2 on the top is 10 over 1, which is really just 10, which is what we had to start with. Okay. Questions so far? All right, number 5. I'm going to draw my line. All right, what operation is happening on number 5? Jeanette?
Division.
Division, and what's the opposite?
Multiplication.
And when we multiply, where do we have to put it?
You have to put it on the side. Like in parentheses.
In parentheses on the side, and make sure you put it on the top. Make sure you put it on the top, okay? So over here it says 3 times 7, which is 21, equals, what happens to my 3's? They go away, and I'm left with n. So 21 equals n. Let's check that. All right. This was n divided by 3, so that's going to be division. The denominator goes at the door. So 21 is n, which is in the house. How many times will 3 go into 21?
7.
7, and 7 times 3 is 21. So that one worked out. Those were super small numbers. So checking it almost seems a little silly. All right, number 6. There's been a lot of questions about this one today, so let's pay careful attention. For number 6, what operation is it? Division. So what am I going to do here, Ada? It's we've already got the bar, so we can't add another bar. Megan?
You write the 5 next to the x.
So the opposite of dividing is multiplying, so we put the 5 next to x. And if I do it on one side, do it to the other. So the part that's messed a lot of people up is trying to do 5 times 4.7. It's been a while since we multiplied decimals, but we should still work it out the same way. So I'm going to go over here to the side. Right, 4.7, not 5, 4.7 times 5. All right, 5 times 7 is 35. Carry the 3. 5 times 4 is 20 plus the 3. 23. So I got 235, but I still need to put the decimal. How do I know where to put the decimal? Jake?
You move it down.
We don't just bring it down. Anna Kate?
You move it the amount of times it did on the numbers.
Yeah, so there's one number after the decimal in the entire problem, so there's one number after the decimal in my answer. So I end up with 23.5 equals, what happens to my 5? They cross out, and we just have X. Okay, let's check this. All right, my original problem said X divided by 5. So 5 is the denominator, 5 goes out the door. I'm going to put 23.5 in the house. Make sure you raise your decimal to the roof. Can 5 go into 2? No. Can 5 go into 23? Yes. How many times?
4 times.
4. 4 times 5 is 20. When you subtract, you get? Bring down the 5. 5 will go into 35? 7 times 5?
35.
When I subtract, I get?
0.
Did those match?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, number 7. Draw our line. What operation is happening on this problem, Hannah?
Division.
Right now, what is it?
Multiplication.
Right now it's multiplication because they're right next to each other. So we're going to do the opposite, which is division. Draw our division bar. What number am I going to be using, Hannah?
18.
18 because it's next to my letter. All right, 18 and 18. Cross out, so I have n equals, what is 36 divided by 18, Joel? 2. All right, to check it, it says 18 times n. Instead of n, what are we using? 2, so we're going to work out 18 times 2. So I'm going to write that down, 18 times 2. 2 times 8 is? 16, carry the 1. 2 times 1? 2 plus the 1. So I got 36, which was the same thing. Number 8, let's draw our line. What operation is happening here? Subtraction. So what's the opposite now? The opposite of subtracting is adding. So we're going back to what we did yesterday. We're going to finish this problem, guys. So we're going to add 1/12. Remember, when we add a fraction, we usually write it next to it. Okay. What happens to my minus 1/12 and plus 1/12? They go away, and I'm left with equals. What happens to 5 over 12 plus 1 over 12? Joel? We get 6 over 12. Now, a lot of y'all left fractions like that. We don't want to leave it as 6 over 12 because we can simplify. What can I divide those by? 2. So dividing by 2, I get 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. I can divide that again by 3. 3 divided by 3 is? 6 divided by 3 is? Can I make that any smaller? So my answer is C equals 1/2. Okay. All right, I'm going to check that in just a moment. You can go ahead and pack your things up.
You have to do the.
Okay, so we've already started checking number 8. We put in, it said D minus 1/12. For D, we had a half. So instead of writing D minus 1/12, I wrote 1/2 minus 1/12. We found out if I multiplied both of these by 6, now my bottom number matches. So now I have 6 over 12 minus 1 over 12. Now that they match, can I subtract? So what can I get now? Now that they have the same bottom number, what am I going to get when I subtract those? 5/12. All right, and did I already have that in my problem? Yeah, there's 5/12, there's 5/12, so did I have the right answer? Yeah, so D equals 1/2 is correct. All right, we have 2 more problems to look at. Number 9, let's go ahead and draw our line. Let's draw a neater line. All right, Jessica, what operation is happening right now? It's subtraction. So what are we going to do? We're going to add. What am I adding to both sides? 7, because that's what's next to my letter. Okay? What happens to a minus 7 and a plus 7? It goes away. And leave me with t equals 19 plus 7. 26. All right, let's check it. What was my original problem? T minus 7. Instead of writing t minus 7, we're going to write 26 minus 7. Can I do 6 minus 7? Can I do 6 minus 7? No. So I'm going to borrow from 2. 2 becomes 6 becomes 16. 16 minus 7 is 9. And then we have the 1. So I got 19. Is that what we were supposed to get? So is 26 a good answer? All right, last one. What operation is happening here, Mary Webb?
It's adding, but you're gonna do the opposite.
Okay, so it's adding, so we're going to subtract. What number am I subtracting, Carlos? What number am I going to subtract? Is that with my letter? 2. 2 because it's with my letter. Okay. So 5 minus 2 gives me 3 equals my plus 2 and minus 2. So we just have x. All right, guys, we still need to check it, and you do not get to leave until Miss B comes over the intercom. So let's check this problem, please. What did my original problem say? X plus 2. So, Jalea, instead of x plus 2, what are we going to write? 3 plus 2, which is 5, which matches. Okay.